With over 25 years of experience in logistics and customs, he has successfully transformed his career from the customs department to leading his own firm. What drives his passion for logistics, and how does he use his expertise to advocate for small and medium-sized enterprises? My guest is Jamaican business leader and logistics expert Donovan Wignal. I'm Archibald Gordon. This is Profile. Donovan Wignal, welcome to Profile.
Yeah, thank you very much, Archibald.
Delighted to have you, especially for someone who is from a sector that people don't tend to hear a lot about, but in which they're very invested. Absolutely. And I'm talking about shipping and logistics. Head of Maertrans International Logistics Limited, over 25 years in customs and logistics. Yeah. Former shipping and logistics manager at a major telecommunications multinational. Past president of the Customs Brokers and Freight Forwarders Association, former assistant secretary and treasurer of the Caribbean Association of Customs Brokers, and president of the Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises MSME Alliance, and executive member of boards like the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica and the Jamaica Business Development Corporation. Significant contributions to the logistics, shipping, and customs industries overall. Graduate of Kingston College, and I'll talk a little bit about that later on. When you hear all of this, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Well, for me, it's evolution. Where you start don't necessarily determine where you end. There are a lot of decisions in between that determine the path that you take in getting to where you are today.
Why do you say evolution? Explain.
There are changes constantly take place, and things and time change, and you have to evolve to match those times. You have to evolve to survive in those times. So your survival really depends on your ability to make the right decisions at the right time.
All right, let's talk about that then, making the right decisions at the right time and that evolution. Even as you say evolution, I'm always struck by how so much of what people do, or at least how some of the work they do, is related to how they grew up. How is what you do now related to how you grew up?
Well, I was influenced by, I would say, strong families. So during growth, at various points in my life, there's usually a strong mother. So whether it's the mother of my friends or my own mother, who was very influential in my upbringing, you would be a part of the family even though you're not a member of the family. So the kids who you play with, how their family grew them, and their successes you want to emulate. So you'd want to go to the school that your best friend go to. You'd want to do the things, you want to work where your best friends work. And pretty much you will identify people in society who would like to be like you. You want to identify places in the country that you'd like to live. You want to identify those cars that you'd like to drive when you get to a certain age, who you'd like to be like. So from an early age, those things were a part of my psyche. So
your mother was saying this to you as well?
Mother, because she always said that, always try to be better. She had strong friends who were Christian and who had strong families. So at points in time, she would ask the matriarch of those families to babysit me while she go off to work. So you look at that family, you see, how they study. The churches they go to, you start to go into their church, and eventually you literally grew up in that village, and I was steered towards the successful parts of it. There were choices that you could make then to go one way or another, but I was always pushed to the point that had positive results.
You're talking about your mother there. Where was father?
Well, my mother and my biological father separated. She pretty much did all she could to ensure that I went on the path that she needed me to go to, that I needed to go on, and hence I'm here today.
You said your mother was the one who was sort of pushing you, but also other strong women in other families that
right.
you were. What were the circumstances like if she was raising you on her own?
It was rough. I remember my mother worked at Combined Tobacco Company back in the days on Bell Road. I grew up in Kingston 11. And she had to go to work every day. You know, she made cigars for the company. I went to DuPont Primary School on Olympic Way. I literally checked myself into that school. And one day I'll tell you the story.
Checked yourself into the school? How?
Yeah, one September, I think, when I was 6. I didn't get to go in school the usual way. But my mother had my khaki clothes and everything. So she put on my clothes and said, go on to school. So I just went to school and went and sat in a class.
You just sent it to school
yes.
without registering you?
Yes, she didn't register anything. She just sent me to school. And I went to school and sat in a class. And that was the first day of school. The teacher introduced everybody. And I was there and people started to, she said, what kind of poems you knew? And, she was just getting to know the class. And I was, me miss, and she said, okay, you say the poem that you know. So I knew this poem that from church days, when, you had Friday evenings, and I was 6. So, I was influenced. So I got up and all bushy-eyed and bushy-tailed and bright-eyed and said, I had a little pony. I was meager and bony. I fed him so much, he fell on my hutch. And now I neither have hutch nor pony. Teacher said, wait, here's who you. How you get into this class? I don't know you. And she says, all right. So she took me to the vice principal and she said, all right, I want to put this boy in my class. And that's where my primary school attendance began. I got into the school, I went home and told my mother the story, and she cried. She said, the teacher said, bring your mother in the next day when you're coming back to school. And I brought my mother. She took the day off from work. And, that's how I started going to the school. I did well. In grade 1, I went to grade 2, grade 3, and then I had to leave the area, go to another area, pass my common entrance for Kingston College. Yes.
I want to talk about Kingston College. And I hear the pause there and the yes, so I know this is going to be a story. But we have to take our first break on Profile. My guest is Jamaican business leader, and he's a logistics expert, and he's the head of Mairtrans International Logistics Limited, Donovan Wignal. We're back with you after these messages.